My name's Stephen Howson. This is 5 things that we learned, maybe, watching United not beat Liverpool. Number 1, Manchester United can't defend set pieces. So many times this season, we've seen even City do us at set pieces. City, of all the teams in the world, not Burnley, Stoke or City doing us at set pieces. Liverpool doing us at set pieces. You think these teams would blow us away with brilliant football? No, sometimes we're City. But set pieces. We signed Harry Maguire, one of the best people at set pieces, at both ends, it's worth to be said, for both England and for Leicester. Looks like he's never even heard of a corner. The decision to allow Virgil van Dijk, who, I'm not even looking, but how many goals has Virgil van Dijk got from corners? I'm going to say a lot, right? It's a lot. It feels like a lot, doesn't it? It feels like that's almost his thing, innit? That when Liverpool have a corner, one of the threats. In fact, who else scores from corners for Liverpool? So Virgil van Dijk trots himself up for a corner. And Manchester United, which is clearly on our little fucking flip book, have gone, what we'll do is, do you know Fred? You mean him down there that can't see over the bar? Yeah. Let's have him mark the biggest centre-half Liverpool have got, who's a threat from corners. Okay. And when he absolutely fucking mullers him out of the way, then what? We got a plan B. Brandon Williams. Right. So the 19-year-old who's probably 10 3/4 stone and the midget. That's what we're going to do to stop Van Dijk, right? Right. Wrong. That's ridiculous. That is absolutely ridiculous. This zonal marking that Manchester United do, there's merits to it, right? There's merits to man marking, there's merits to zonal marking. Fundamentally, all that happens at a corner is a ball comes into a certain area, someone needs to get the napper on it. That's it. That's all that happens. There's no reason to overcomplicate it. One of the things that Manchester United do is that we have our entire team, plus bench, plus physios, and 6 people from the away end in our own box when we're defending corners. We have no threat whatsoever. Even if what's Dan James doing, right? What is Dan James doing at a corner? He's getting in some fucker's way. That's what he's doing, isn't it? Right? Dan James, do me a favour. Go and stand on the halfway line, mate. And then someone has to look at you and go, what do we do about him? And then if someone has to look at him and go, what do we do about him? Then they move out of their position. Otherwise, when everyone, plus the bench, plus the physios, plus 6 people from the front line of the away end, are standing in our box, it's very easy for them to defend any balls that come back out, isn't it? And so often, we don't get to those first balls and it gets pumped straight back into the box for us. That's when Manchester United compound the pressure that we're under. These, for me, are basic things. And these, for me, are where I can easily find loads of things to criticise the manager for. So many times I'll go, look, you can't put that on him, you can't put that on him, you can't put that on him. But this is one that you can put on him. So just put on him. Fundamentally, Manchester United's roles at set pieces are wrong. We changed it up at half time, but it took 4 chances for Liverpool where they was going close and where they nearly got their head on it again before someone was like, why don't we put like Matic near him? He's pretty big, isn't he? That's not acceptable. This goes back to what we saw in the Derby game where we was being pressed to death and it took us so long to even think about doing something different. We have to be quicker at recognising when we're not good enough and changing it on the fly. So that, Ollie, Mike, McKenna, Carrick, you've all got to sort of shit out here because this is costing us matches now. If we hadn't have allowed Liverpool to score in that game then, at that particular moment, we could have been holding on to a 0-0 going into the latter stages of that game. We twisted trying to get a draw, which would have been an acceptable result in the circumstances. And we twisted and they ended up going the other end of the pitch and scoring. But you think, these are preventable goals. And that's the problem for Manchester United the entirety of this season. Preventable goals are being scored, often. Number 2, Fred was impressive again. Let's be honest. Fred's probably just behind Marcus Rashford in terms of player of the year for Manchester United this year. Another great performance. We've seen him with 2 chances created, 3 out of 4 take-ons, 13 ball recoveries, 4 interceptions, 15 final third passes, 2 key passes, 2 chances created. Like, Fred's doing his bit. But Fred needs people alongside him. I don't think Matic was bad, actually. We're going to get to who I think was in a minute. Fred was having another decent performance again until the finish. Lack of options, lack of movement ahead of him when he's coming into the final third with the ball. If he has those options, if he has a better player with better shooting alongside him, maybe you'll see him slide that player in and you might see Manchester United getting some better shots, some higher quality chances. Because Fred's shooting's just... I don't get excited when he gets into a shooting position. Like I don't get excited when we get a corner. Or like I shit myself when we concede a corner. Fred's having a great season if you just totally pretend that his shooting doesn't exist. His attitude's great. His work ethic is great. The quality in his play is there. You know, he takes the ball in the right sort of body shapes. He moves it forward. He links the play together. His decision-making on the ball is good. It's just that there needs to be others around him, and I think you'll see. I actually think there's levels to the game, and I don't think he's a top-level footballer, but he's playing very well, and that's more than you can ask for, I think. That's just exactly what you want to see. So, Fred was great again, but the midfield's still getting absolutely smushed. Now, maybe if we eventually manage to bring in a Bruno Fernandes, Fred, and maybe a Matic or McTominay once he comes back, that starts to look like a pretty strong midfield three for me. Will we get to see it? Where does Pogba fit into that? If and when he decides he's going to play again. But Fred was good. Andreas Pereira is frustrating. I didn't learn that today, to be fair. Andreas Pereira completed 16 out of 26 passes. That's just not enough passes. Fred completed 15 in the final third alone, and he was playing a lot deeper than Andreas Pereira was. All 16 of the passes that he completed were short passes. Andreas Pereira's shooting's not good. His decision-making on the ball, not good. He created one chance today and was dispossessed 4 times. Now, playing as a number 10, you sort of expect to be dispossessed if you're creating stuff. That's the nature of the game. You take risks to make things happen, and you do allow number 10s to have a slight lower pass completion rate than those around. But when you look at this. Look at this pass map. This isn't someone that's constantly trying to pump balls into an area that are dangerous and things just aren't coming off. This is just shit. This is just not acceptable. 61% pass completion. You're looking for quality in the play. Where is the quality from Manchester United? Where's the consistently moving the ball through the thirds? The midfield's job is to supply balls in areas for the attackers to go and convert them. This is very simple. Goalkeeper, don't let the fucking shots in. Give it to the defenders, quick. Defenders, stop the opposition scoring and pass to the midfielders. Midfielders, take it away from the defenders in possession and stop the opposition getting through to our defenders and move it forward up to the attackers. Attackers, put the fucking ball in the back of the net. Football's really fucking simple. And for me, Andreas Pereira, I think he's either playing for himself, I think he's too selfish, or he just doesn't have the football intelligence to be able to put the right balls in the right places, because it's not an ability thing and it's not a skill thing. Andreas is genuinely skillful player. I've seen him score some outrageous individual goals because he's got the ability. He's got an excellent dribble, he's not slow, he's physical, he's aggressive. He seems to have all the right sort of characteristics to be a top flight footballer. Reminds me of Nani, and I used to crucify Nani for his decision making and his inconsistencies. But fuck me, Nani looks like an absolute back-to-back 15-time Ballon d'Or winner compared to Andreas Pereira. He's just not going to be good enough, and he's played so many times back-to-back this season that you can't say, just give him a run of games and his confidence. I don't think it's a confidence issue with him. I think it's a pure mental issue that at this age now, is he going to overcome that? I see so many more intelligent footballers, like someone like a Dylan Levitt, even a Brandon. The decision-making from those players is just far superior. Is he ever going to get it? How many more chances does he need? David De Gea, again. I don't really know what to say about David De Gea because this season he's been both brilliant and awful. Today was brilliant. There was times today where there was saves that he just had no right to make that he made. And he looked, at times, commanding again. And actually, David De Gea, maybe the fact that Maguire's been given the captaincy over him, it looked like he gave a shit a little bit today. He got booked for dissent. I've never seen David De Gea angry, for starters. So that was good to see. The frustration in him was good to see. Actually, the fact that he gives a fuck, because De Gea's a very introverted personality, and you never really know what he's thinking. It was good to see De Gea go and actually get fucking booked, even though, can we just start with how wrong this is? I wasn't really going to talk about the referee, but let's fucking get into this for a minute, shall we? Jesus, titty fucking Christ. He gets fouled. He then moans at the ref, oi, I was fucking fouled. And the referee books him because he wasn't happy that he got fouled. And then VAR goes, hey, guess what? He was fouled. And the ref's like, well, I booked him. You booked him because you're a shit referee. Fact. You booked David De Gea because he was telling you you can't fucking do your job properly, and he was right, and you still booked him. Not only that, he allowed the game to completely get away from him. I think there was a Liverpool player that eventually got booked by the end of the game. But there was so many fouls going in that you're like, well, the issue with Liverpool and VAR, because I've seen the if VAR didn't exist tables. Well, the problem with the VAR existing and not existing tables is it only looks at the decisions that VAR looked at and either overruled or allowed. What it doesn't do is it doesn't look at the times when they didn't go to VAR for stuff. And that's the issue with the VAR stuff, is it's so inconsistent in when it's used. I think the decisions that they've got when they've gone to VAR have been largely the correct decision. But so many times you go, why isn't we're not looking at that? What the fuck? Inexplicable. Today, Craig Mawson completely lost it with that team, with that game. He didn't have control. He lost his head totally. And the fact that David De Gea got booked for being fucking right and saw the decision overturned is an absolute... It sums up VAR, doesn't it? Let's be honest with ourselves. But anyway, yeah, I was really happy to see De Gea give a shit. He tried to get up for the corner towards the end. Maybe that was a bad decision. But do you know what? Looks like he actually gives a fuck. And I guess that's all we can really take at the moment, isn't it? At number 5, Solskjaer needs backing. And this is levelled squarely at Manchester United board. The talk came out today, and I'm sure it's no coincidence that there was every chance we was going to get beat today. So the talk came out again about a director of football, or a technical director, as I believe they're going to call it. Manchester United need a plan. We're signing players at the moment, hopefully to fit Solskjaer's plan, but the rumours about Pochettino being left aside to come in and take the job in the summer means that what fucking plan is this in the first place? Is he going to play the same way Ollie played? If not, then what was the fucking point in signing the likes of Dan James and stuff? The players that Ollie has signed, supposedly, are supposed to be the players that Ollie wants. The players that Ollie has brought through are the players that Ollie wants to see brought. The players that Ollie has sold are because they're surplus to requirements for what Ollie wants as a manager. Now, if you're not going to back Ollie and you've got designs on another manager, fuck him off and bring that other manager in today. Because otherwise, this is nonsense. And it's like lurching from David Moyes and his style of football to Louis van Gaal. And then the waste of... I keep hearing that Ed Wood was a genius businessman. Well, a genius businessman doesn't lurch from having his factory and his workers make one product, let's say shit paper, and then make cars the next week. Because the cost to change your factory over to one that produces another thing is fucking monumental. And then for a couple of weeks later to go, actually, I like making shit roll. We'll make shit roll again. The lack of foresight and planning is costing this club fucking hundreds of millions. Now, I don't give a fuck, because it's not my money. And ultimately, it's better than being in the Glazer's pocket. But the fact that it's been wasted like a fucking lottery winner at a titty bar on a Friday night is a fucking joke. We've gone from one style of play to another, to back to one that's very reminiscent of what we saw with Louis van Gaal. In fact, we'd have been better bringing in Solskjaer instead of Jose Mourinho directly on the back of Louis van Gaal, and we would have saw a possession-based football with people who like to play it out from the back, and Solskjaer might have taken it to another level. Instead, we had to bring in a manager that wanted physical players who play direct football. And then you have to go back to that. Look at the players that we could have had right now. Daley Blind, playing out from the back. Fucking mint. That player alone would have made a massive difference to what Solskjaer was trying to do this season. United need to stick with a plan, right or wrong, and see it through. We're just starting things and stopping them halfway through, and it's fucking nonsense. Louis van Gaal arguably should have been given his third year to see his project through. I thought Louis was a good man who was doing bits. It was fucking well boring at times. But you know what? We was in the mix and we was competing against the big teams. If he'd have been allowed to bring in Zlatan and Pogba and Henrik Mkhitaryan, what might have we have seen from Louis van Gaal in that third season? Jose Mourinho was allowed to do what he did. It went incredibly toxic, as only Jose can do. And now we're left with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, who, yeah, you're right, probably wouldn't have been given the job anywhere else. But is Xavi getting a job anywhere else? No, the guy's a legend at Barcelona. They're probably going to give him a role. Was Zidane getting a job anywhere else, apart from Real Madrid? No, so they're probably going to give him a role. Was Pep Guardiola going to be given the job straight out of managing Barcelona's fucking reserves, anywhere apart from Barcelona? No. So for me, it's worth the fucking risk. Ultimately, a manager's only as good as a team at his disposal. And this team is the worst Manchester United team I've seen in 30 fucking years. And especially when you take out our best midfielder, our probably best defensive midfielder, and undoubtedly our best striker. What the fuck do you expect to happen?